The pillows are fluff thanks to Miss Emily. The couch is wide enough, join the family. It's all love while we laugh at Perp's criminalities. Hey, 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 welcome to the Sofa Squad. Sip it from the cup and hey, 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 come laugh with the Sofa Squad. Can't roll my damn eyes hard enough. Oh, please, the puppies need me. Ooh, oh, please, my body is rejecting none of that fancy credential stuff. I'm just here for the cringe binge. Hey, 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 welcome to the Sofa Squad. Sip it from the cup and hey, 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 come laugh with the Sofa Squad. Can't roll my damn eyes hard enough. Oh please, the puppies need me. Oh please, my body is rejecting none of that fancy credentialed stuff. I'm just here for the cringe binge. Hey, 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 welcome to the Sofa Squad. Sip it from the cup that hey, 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 come laugh with the Sofa Squad. Can't roll my damn eyes hard enough.
Hey, 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 welcome to the Sofa Squad. Sip it from the cup and, oh please, my Jakey needs me. Ooh. They're making their grand entrance. Luke, we don't need to do that. Luke says hello, everybody. Luke says drop a number 1 if you can hear him. Okay, now I'm going to show you all this since I actually have it, but it's going to cause a minute now. This thing right here, whoever sent this, I thank you because they love this. This thing right here, you see them. You see this. This is absolutely, they love, I mean, this one right here has literally hours of entertainment with it. I'm going to throw it though. Hello, everybody. I hope everybody's doing well. I hope you all have had a wonderful day. Hello, Tux. Y'all, welcome, Tux and the Mods, to the sofa. Thank you for being here. Thank you for keeping things going. I do love you. I do appreciate you. And I hope the Sofa Squad's doing well. Tart with a heart, I love your name. Oh, my God, that's so cute. Hey, Sally Kirby. Hey, Kitty Cat. Call me Kitty. Observation Stasia. What's up, everybody? So, okay, I've had to take the monster head away. No, we can't have things like that at this house. No. Casey says, understand I'm pausing Post Malone's country album to be here. I am very honored of that. Was that not a great album? Him and Morgan's song plays. I play that every day. No. So, y'all, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be going over the last 2 days of testimony, and James Craig wanted to get caught up on it. Hey, Allegedly Needs. Hey, SD. Hey, Sandy. Ohio Mom. It's good seeing all these familiar names. So we're going to be going over those 2 days, and then also just kind of doing like this is what's taking place or whatever. Tomorrow we're going to be streaming Brian Koberger. I'm going to set the stream up after here. I think it's like, well, you know what? I got to check because it's going to be a different time, isn't it? It's not on East Coast. So they're saying 8:30. You know what? Let's look it up right now. Does anybody know what time it's going to be, number one? Let's just look it up. Please help. The puppies need me. Woo. So we got Brian Koberger. Everyone's pouring into town for it. Yep. Does anybody know? It's going to be early. So Brian Koberger. And then we're going to go sentencing date. Okay. Right. You know what? We're going to do some of that. 9 Mountain Time. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Tux. So 10 a.m. Central Time, whatever that means for everybody else. So 10 a.m. Central Standard. So then let's do this. What time is 10? Is, is 10 a.m. So 12 o'clock, 11. Hold on. Sorry, Luke's having an absolute meltdown over here. I'll figure it out, but it's going to be around 11 or 12 tomorrow. So 11 o'clock, people are saying. Luke. He cannot stand the other dogs to have something. I know. I'm sorry, all the dogs are barking. Yeah, he's getting my dad voice out. This is what he does for hours every night. That's what he does. So I'll set it up. So it'll be around 11 or 12 tomorrow, my time, which is Eastern Standard Time. Yes, and I saw Ozzy Osbourne died, y'all. Oh my goodness. So the Kongs to put treats in would literally cause nuclear meltdown over here. We can't have nice things like that in this house. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and read these 2 articles. We'll see how much the dogs let me do, but that's really all there is these 2 days worth, right? And so what we're going to be doing now, also keep in mind, Lauren from Hidden True Crime is there on scene doing live updates and whatnot. Obviously, be sure to follow her for that because she's there in the courtroom getting the nuances of the stuff. But I like going over the daily stuff with y'all because this is just one of those cases where I didn't even know about this case until people started talking about it. And what we've gone over here so far, I'm like, oh, what? It's crazy, right? Absolutely crazy. So here we go. Let me pull this first one up here. Please hold. The puppies need me. Okay, so James. So this is Denver 7, and this is by Stephanie Butzer, Oscar Contreras, and Colette Bordelon. And this is just like their live updates for the courtroom, whatever. Okay, so James Craig trial, wife of former Aurora dentist, had nearly twice the lethal amount of cyanide in her system. My God. And for people who are just who don't know about the trial, 60-second overview, James Craig was a dentist. He killed his wife via cyanide and whatever the fancy word is for Visine. And he was like poisoning her smoothies. He then was thrown in jail. He then tried to get family members, other people to kill witnesses. I think like a cop or a lawyer, crazy stuff. So he caught all these charges in jail awaiting trial. And his defense is low key. She wanted to take her own life. So that's the basic synopsis of what's going on with it. But it's, of course, absolutely contorted, right? So there's that. Now, let's keep going. So we're going to skip over their little part where they kind of summarize stuff or whatever. Okay, so the wife, yes, we said that. Okay, so everyone good. Okay, so several medical personnel took the witness stand on the 5th day of the trial and explained to the jury how they treated Angela Craig, that's the wife, that's the victim, who was allegedly poisoned and killed by her husband, former Aurora dentist James Craig, in 2023. Their confusion about her rapid decline after he was allegedly left alone in our hospital room with her. So that part right there was, he was literally finishing the job off while she was in the hospital. He didn't quite get it there, and so he showed up. Also, a mistress is part of the situation. So there's that. Okay, another expert witness in forensic toxicology testified that the dose of cyanide must have been administered while Angela Craig was hospitalized on March 15th based off of test results from blood samples. James Craig is on trial for 1 charge of first-degree murder, 2 counts of solicitation to commit tampering with physical evidence, 2 counts of solicitation to commit perjury in the first degree, and 1 count of solicitation to commit first-degree murder. 5 of the charges were added to this case during his time in jail. I mean, y'all, we're talking catching serious charges behind bars. And if there was ever, if you've not followed this or been following us with this, y'all, this is the worst case of buy your kill kit at Walmart that I have ever seen in my life. Okay. It is really bad. So okay, wait, hold on. I want to just make a note here for this. Hold on. Boom. I'm kind of like making my script also for my videos for the other channel about it. Okay, so now where are we at? Boom shakalaka, boom shakalaka, boom shakalaka, boom. That's not it. Here we are. Okay. So we did that. He was arrested. Bam. Okay. I'm just going over the old stuff here. Here we go. Okay, so friend of Angela Craig couple described a night when James Craig allegedly drugged Angela in 2019. The prosecution began on Monday with its 24th witness, Nicole Harmon, to start the 5th day of the trial on Monday morning. Prosecutor Ryan Brackley asked her how she knew Angela Craig, and she tearfully said that they had met in the fall of 2000. In 2004, they lived a few doors down from each other in Kansas City. They had kids that were about the same age and raised them while their husbands were in dental school. She was also friendly with James Craig, she said. We had been best friends then, and we moved to Colorado and stayed best friends for a long time since then. As her kids got older, the dynamics changed a bit, and they didn't see each other as much. Harmon testified. She explained that they confided in each other, but not the extremely private parts of their lives. She said Angela Craig was not a risk taker and would not describe her as manipulative. There you go. Remember, the defense said that she was in the opening statements. Harmon said that she knew that Craigs went to marriage counseling and that they were likely having issues, but she noted that no marriage is perfect, so it was what it was. She added that for Angela Craig, her kids were her life. For the most part of her life, she devoted all of her time to raising them and to being home with them. So in my opinion, she was giving all of her time and her energy to their well-being, Harmon told the court. She described the morning of March 9th, 2023, when Angela texted her and asked her to come to her house and test her blood sugar. Harmon explained that her daughter is a type 1 diabetic, so she had the necessary items to perform the test. Angela did not explain why she needed the test. Harmon said, and Harmon did not know about the health issues Angela Craig had been dealing with between March 6th and 9th due to James Craig's alleged poisoning of her smoothies. When Harmon got to the Craig's house, she found Angela Craig on the couch with her kids, watching cartoons, and said she did not look well. Her friend described how she had not slept well and had been on a bike ride and came home feeling sick, so she went to an urgent care. She was concerned she was having a diabetic episode of some sort, Harmon said. Angela had talked with her siblings about diabetes to see if her symptoms aligned. Harmon told the court that she noted a protein shake next to her couch, which Angela Craig said her husband made for her. Harmon suggested she also ate some crackers to help increase her blood sugar. I mean, my God. Just the audacity. Okay. Harmon testified that she left to take her daughter to school, and when she returned to the Craig household with soup around 11:30 a.m., she realized Angela Craig had gone to the hospital. That day, Harmon texted with James Craig starting around the time she realized her friend was in the hospital. The texts were shown in court with Harmon writing, "Wow, what the heck? You got any ideas what might be going on?" to James Craig, and him replying, "It's the Rona." The following day, knowing full well that he did it to her. Okay. The following day, March 10th, 2023, James Craig wrote a text to Harmon to say his wife did not have diabetes and that he had no idea what was ailing Angela Craig. Harmon said she texted her friend while she was hospitalized, and Angela Craig also did not know what was wrong. Prosecutor Brackley then asked Harmon to bring the court back to 2019, to a specific instance when the Craigs visited the Harmon's household. During that visit, James Craig said He'd been dealing with sexual addiction, Harmon testified. He told us he had been dealing with sexual addiction for a long time and that it had gotten to a point where he was going to or had thought about killing himself. He used the term sex addiction. There was no specification, Harmon testified. And so he told us that one night he was planning to inject himself with something to kill himself, and he had drugged Angie to make sure she didn't wake up and stop him. I cannot roll my damn eyes hard enough, y'all. I mean, y'all. Okay, now again, if you've been following me for this, you know I've said this 10,000 times over. Yeah, this is literally Anthony Todd, okay? I injected her with something to kiss so she wouldn't wake up. Or he gave her something. Come on. Right? I mean... Okay, let's keep going. Where'd y'all go? Okay, here we go. Harmon says she didn't remember how Harmon says she didn't remember how she reacted upon hearing this, but recalled that Angela said she was going to stay in the marriage and help her husband work through it with group counseling and therapy. Harmon noted that only James Craig spoke about the alleged drugging incident, and that Angela Craig did not say anything about whether she was drugged. After this conversation in 2019, Harmon said that Angela Craig seemed to want space from Harmon, and so they talked less, and it just became different. She tried texting Angela Craig saying that she wished she knew so she could have helped. Harmon testified that Angela felt as though her friend was not there for her during such hard times. During the cross-examination, which was led by defense attorney Lisa Moses, Harmon said her husband and James Craig knew each other since they were teenagers, and then both went on to dental school. She added that she spent time with the Redferns as well. Michelle Redfern testified on July 16th, and her husband Ryan Redfern, who was business partners with James Craig, testified the following day. They were all close in dental school and shared the same faith, Harmon said. When the Harmon family moved to Colorado, her husband ended up working for James Craig, she said. Defense attorney Moses asked about that evening when the Craigs visited the Harmons in 2019, and Harmon's text to Angela Craig afterward. You texted her, I'm sorry, I wish you told me, Moses asked, and Harmon said yes. Angela responded, and she was mad. Moses asked, and Harmon again responded yes, confirming that her friend responded angrily. Harmon said she knew her friend was angry with what was happening in her marriage and was taking out her frustration on Harmon, which Harmon said she was okay with, but the relationship was limited after 2019. In a redirect examination, Harmon told the court that Angela Craig was protecting her husband, and she understood why. I don't think you can tell your best friend. Wait, hold on. I don't think you can tell your best friend that your husband is cheating on you and that not change everything, Harmon said on the stand, because your best friend is going to look at your husband as the biggest scumbag. Girl called it out, okay? She said what everyone was thinking. I mean, it's like, this is just, wow. How sad. Okay, let's keep going. Despite having a limited relationship in 2019, when Angela Craig called Harmon on March 9th, she went right over to the Craig house. Nurse says Angela Craig was so sick that she did not treat another patient for the rest of the day. Prosecutor Osama Maghribi then called up the 25th witness, Kristen Albuchan, who has been a nurse for 23 years. She treated Angela when she was very critically ill. Albuchan said, and this included taking various blood samples. Albuchan said on March 15th, 2023, the last time that Angela was admitted into a hospital, and the day she crashed, she only treated Angela from the moment she stepped into her room. She treated other patients before Angela came into the hospital, but not afterwards. The defense did not have any questions for her, and so she was excused. Pulmonology specialist recalls Angela Craig's rapid and confusing decline in the hospital.
The following witness to take the stand was Dr. Peter Satile, who specializes in pulmonology, the study of lungs and critical care. He was qualified as an expert witness in hospital medicine and pulmonology. Satile said he remembers taking care of Angela on March 19th, 2023, and that she was incredibly sick. He recalled that her exam seemed pretty normal with normal lab results and was considered for discharge from the hospital when she suddenly became drastically ill with low blood pressure and low oxygen. She was intubated and somewhat stabilized, and that was when Satile was called in for help. Pardon me. Just before that, James Craig had been in the room with his wife and then reported that she had arm pain. When medical personnel came into the room, they found Angela Craig unresponsive. Satile said at that point they had no explanation why their care was not helping Angela Craig. Another analysis at that time was vastly abnormal, with high levels of acid in her blood. Lactic acid can build up, which is normal during exercise, and the body can become too acidic, the doctor said. He explained that at that point, Angela was essentially comatose. It was unusual for a woman of her age with vague complaints to suddenly essentially die in front of you, he said. His first goal was to try and stabilize her, which was a challenge because he was worried about even transporting her to a CT scanner. There, he saw severe swelling of the brain, but the rest of the scan was considered relatively unremarkable. He found this odd since he was told that James Craig said to staff members that Angela was complaining about arm pain, and he would be surprised if someone with that level of swelling in the brain could speak to relay such a message. Yeah, he's probably talking about arm pain where he poked her with something. After the scan, Angela was brought up to the ICU for several procedures. After a discussion with neurosurgeons, Satile said they decided to drill a hole into her skull to relieve the pressure on her brain. The doctors put in an intracranial pressure monitor, and after doing so, he realized that blood was not going to the brain, but he was still left questioning why the swelling had started in the first place. The results of the electrocardiogram argued against Angela Craig having experienced a heart attack, Satile said. At that point, he thought it was necessary to tell James Craig about his wife's outlook. He found the husband with a handful of family and friends in a conference room. James Craig asked everybody to leave, and then Satile told him that Angela Craig was likely brain dead, but he could not formally declare her as such since she was too unstable. Still, the doctor had reached a point where he was worried that medical intervention would not make a difference. Satile testified that James Craig's reaction was somewhat unusual. He called it a very lackluster response, for a lack of a better description, to hearing that your wife, who had been healthy, was now likely dead. I'm surprised he didn't jump up and do cartwheels. Right? Giddy would be a word that I would look for. Giddy. I mean, he was just... I'll keep going, then I'll talk. Sorry. Let's just keep going. Okay. James Craig said his wife would want the medical teams to stop fighting for her life. Yeah, I can't with this. Which left a lot of question in Satile's mind, since Angela Craig was only in her 40s. He said a decision like that typically comes after a few days after a grieving process. Remember, he had stuff to do. Then he had a lady coming to town next day or something like that. Normally, Satile testified, he sees denial and anger from individuals during a conversation like the one he had with James Craig. That was not the case in this instance, according to Satile. Sometime after this, a nurse came into the room and told Satile privately that he had just had an unusual conversation with James Craig's business partner, Ryan Redfern. Now, remember, if you haven't been following this, Ryan Redfern is a business partner who called out James Craig for ordering cyanide and basically put everything together. It was like, why did you get that? We don't order that. What's up? Okay. So he had a conversation with the business partner, Ryan Redfern, about cyanide being delivered to the dental office. Once there was even the question of cyanide toxicity, Satile brought in specialty doctors to investigate. Those doctors gave Angela Craig an antidote, but Satile explained that it's most effective if given as soon as possible, and it had been a few hours since her cardiovascular collapse. In a cross-examination led by the defense attorney Ashley Whittam, Satile told her he has seen a range of people who have accidentally or intentionally ingested something. He added that doctors often have a clue of what happened, whether that be empty pill bottles, a note, or indications from first responders. Satile said this was the first time taking care of somebody with severe cyanide exposure. He admitted he did not treat Angela Craig before James Craig allegedly told nurses she was experiencing arm pain. And Satile said he cannot say how fast the swelling in the brain occurred. Excuse me. Circling back to James Craig's reaction when he learned his wife. Time out. Sorry. Circling back to James Craig's reaction when he learned of his wife's status, Satile confirmed through Whittam that people can be angry or hysterical in similar circumstances, but it's less common to see a loved one in shock and trying to process information after hearing devastating news. When Whittam said grief and accepting information can look different for everyone, Satile agreed. Answering more questions from Whittam, Satile acknowledged he does not know what James Craig's typical reaction to negative information or grief would be. Okay, now hold on 1 second. I mean, y'all, literally, this is crazy. I gotta mute y'all for a second while I get a sip of water. Okay, let's keep going. So next, nurse testifies that James Craig took pictures of wife undergoing emergency treatment. I mean, y'all, they've shown the pictures that he sent to the mistress. Okay, Rose Spicciala was the next witness and treated Angela as a nurse while she was working in the emergency department at UC Health University of Colorado Hospital in 2023. She was there when Angela first came into the hospital and remembered her saying she was dizzy but could speak at the time. Rose told the court that she recalled Angela starting to look better and her demeanor appeared, to improve on March 15th, 2023. At some point, Rose left the room and James Craig went inside, she testified. As described in previous testimony, Rose said James Craig came out of his wife's room to say that her arm was hurting in a very panicked way. Rose recalled everybody rushing into the room because of how flustered James appeared. Rose said it looked as though Angela was having a seizure. This poor woman. Oh my God. Rose pulled an emergency alarm and did a blood draw on Angela at 11:50 a.m. Rose demonstrated what the IV bag and tubes looked like in Angela's case. Typically, she explained that medications can be screwed into ports along the tubing. Prosecutors specifically asked Rose if she had ever put a syringe into the tube using a needle. She said she has never attempted that and has always screwed it on. That tells me that there's going to be evidence at some point that that's how he injected the poison. He did that because they're going to probably find evidence of that being in there. Okay, let me keep going. During the cross-examination, Rose said that Angela Craig had come to the hospital that day with two people, neither of whom were James Craig. He came later on in the day. She said James never intervened in her care of his wife and did not try to stop anybody from entering the room to help her. He seemed very emotional as medical personnel worked around Angela, Rose said. He was also taking pictures from the hallway. Rose said to answer a jury member's question that she has not seen family members take photos of their loved one receiving emergency medical care. The court then took a lunch break. I mean, seriously. And remember, he sent those to the mistress, right? I mean, she suffered immensely. He clearly went in there, had a needle or syringe, whatever the thing was in her, bag, whatever, injected it in there. It was probably obviously it was a lethal dose of cyanide or whatever else he mixed in there. She immediately seized up and went into that, and probably could have been. Now, we know obviously he's not going to run out and say, I just did that with cyanide. He wanted to kill her, right? But she probably could have been saved at that point on some level, because the doctors say we give an antidote or whatever, but it was several hours. So it's like, I'm not blaming anybody for that, but it's just like, for him to know. I mean, number one, he was like, she's not dying yet, so let me go finish the job off. The idiocy of doing that in the hospital, the things that this dude did are so painfully obvious, all the way from ordering the cyanide to searches to like literally all. This guy's off the charts in every direction. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, so next, Angela Craig had nearly twice the lethal amount of cyanide in her system. So following the lunch break, the court then calls Dr. Carla Walker to the witness stand. Walker is a laboratory director for MedTox Laboratories. She's been and has been for about 10 years. She testifies in court dozens of times and was qualified as an expert witness in toxicology, the study of how natural or man-made poisons cause harmful effects in living organisms, including humans. Dr. Walker... Dr. Walker testified that MedTox was requested to test 2 different blood samples from Angela Craig. Taken on March 15th, the samples were tested for cyanide. Defense attorney Whittam then questioned Walker about those blood samples. The doctor said she received those from another lab, not directly from a nurse, and that an analyst, not herself, performed the analysis of the samples. And you never performed a confirmation test, Whittam asked. I did not personally perform any testing, Dr. Walker testified. Walker testified that the analysis was done multiple times and all indicate the same finding. Prosecutors then presented an exhibit detailing the results of the blood test, which was admitted as evidence before the judge. Walker explained the results to the court, which showed that Angela Craig had 5.865 milligrams of cyanide per liter of blood. To put those numbers into context, Walker said she'd expect to see cyanide levels within the 0.025 milligrams per liter in a non-smoker, and about 0.2 in someone who is exposed to the toxin due to the nature of their job. Those levels, she said, are considered non-toxic. Toxic levels of cyanide are reached once that range goes into the 1.0 to 2.5. Walker said, having that much cyanide in your blood can lead to coma and respiratory depression, she said. Death generally occurs when those levels reach 3 milligrams. So she had 5.865. So, I mean, do the math on that. Walker told the court Monday that one of the 2 blood samples from Angela showed she had 5.865 milligrams per liter of cyanide in her blood, nearly twice the amount needed to kill her. The second sample showed that Angela had 4.700 milligrams per liter of cyanide in her system, still well above the lethal threshold. In cross-examination, Whittam argued that toxicology reports cannot say how cyanide ended up in someone's system, and added that since Walker didn't witness the analyst taking the sample and doing the test, you're just hoping they're following protocol. Walker said it's beyond hoping that analysts followed protocol, as they're required to follow standardized operating procedures, do regular competency assessments, and are generating electronic raw data that would be difficult to manipulate. She added that there are supervisors who are watching the analysts do the testing, but there isn't someone independently watching every analyst working at the lab, and as that is not standard practice. Prosecutors declined a redirect, and Walker was excused from the stand. So, I mean, again, there you go. So, yeah, hey, Matt, how are you doing? So, motive so far, what we can tell is, yes, money and women. So, he had a mistress, who was going to be coming to visit or whatever. Now, this mistress was of 3 weeks. He also was serious financial issues and had life insurance stuff out there. So, he had all the things going, right? Now, quick question. Do y'all want me to show, since we're not watching anything, do y'all want to see the comments on the stage like that? And I'm going to mute while I sip, and just let me know. Just do a yes or no if you want to see him on the screen while I read. I know Kitty Cat says, I can't believe any woman found him attractive. I know, right? He looks so just like, just it. Like the ick is so strong. And that's when y'all, so gross. I mean, like literally y'all. Tori, what's up? How's it going? Hey, hey, hey. Welcome to the Sofa Squad. Okay, I'm going to switch back over to the screen and keep reading. Forensic toxicologist believes that Angela was exposed to cyanide during her hospital stay. The prosecution then called Dr. Justin Brier, a forensic toxicologist with NMS Labs, who has done probably every type of toxicology testing that's available. His specialty in toxicology, the forensic aspect, studies how toxins can be used for legal purposes. Brier typically reviews post-mortem cases to help medical examiners and forensic pathologists determine cause of death. In his role, Brier said coroners can consult with him regarding questions about the findings. He has testified as an expert witness roughly 36 times and was qualified as such in this trial. In his testimony, Brier said there's two aspects of forensic toxicology, a screening aspect and a confirmation aspect. He said his lab received a package of samples from the Arapahoe County coroner related to Angela Craig on March 29, 2023. And all 67 specimens were received from the coroner, with the majority being ante-mortem, meaning they were taken while Angela was alive, and hospitalized. But he also said his lab received post-mortem specimens from the autopsy, such as blood samples, tissues from the liver, hair samples, and fingernail samples. He told prosecutor Ryan Brackley his lab was involved with the coroner before he tested the samples, as there was some concern about the nature of the case and what specimens would need to be tested. He added it's unusual to get 67 samples and said he believes this is the most his lab ever received. Brier said in this particular case, he wasn't the analyst who performed the test. He reviewed the data to make sure it was recorded correctly and followed the chain of custody before he was satisfied with the process and gave it his signature. He testified that he talked with the coroner to determine what test to assign, but did not test all 67 samples, as the coroner is the one who decides which samples to make the most sense to test, Despite not testing all of those 67 samples, he said his lab has a lot of checks and balances to make sure that what we're doing is correct and accurate. In his testimony, Brier detailed 3 blood samples. And hold on, I'm going to list them out. Number 1, the first sample was taken March 29, 2023 at 11:24 a.m., in which there was no detectable cyanide, but there was 330 micrograms per liter of blood of arsenic. The second sample was taken from March 15th at 11:50 a.m. In this one, 68 Ug/L of arsenic were detected, a very significant amount. The second sample also showed 1.7 UgL of cyanide and 95 nanograms per milliliter of blood of tetrahydrozoline, which is the Visine and stuff. The third sample, March 15th, 2023, 8:21 p.m., showed 3.7 UgL of cyanide. It was not tested for arsenic or the Visine. The 2 blood draws from March 15th were taken around 8 hours apart and show the cyanide levels in Angela had more than doubled while she was hospitalized. I mean, they got the receipts. You can't say they don't. To me, it looks like there has been, To me, it looks like there has to be a second administration of cyanide while Angela was in the hospital, Brower testified. Brower also explained that Visine constricts blood vessels and, if consumed, can mimic an opioid overdose. When arsenic concentration is high within a human, symptoms can include abdominal pain, feeling dizzy, and lack of coordination. Cyanide inhibits the manufacturing of adenosine triphosphate within the mitochondria of cells, which is how the body operates. Cyanide was also used in gas chambers and concentration camps during World War II. Referring to the effects of the amount of cyanide found in Angela's blood, Brower said its effects are very quick on the body and people can die within seconds depending on how much cyanide someone has on their blood. If you ingest cyanide, it can work within minutes. The cyanide can react in the stomach, producing cyanide gas, which can flow through gut membrane to enter the blood very, very fast, Brower said. In cross-examination, defense attorney Lisa Moses pointed out that of the 67 samples Brower's lab received, his lab only tested 5. During cross-examination, Brower was asked about ignoring media coverage of the Craig case. My role here is in Switzerland, he said about his testimony after explaining that he actively tried to avoid consuming any reporting on the allegations. In the redirect examination, prosecutors asked Brower about how much consumption of benzodiazepines, a class of drugs primarily used to treat anxiety disorders, would be enough to detect an overdose by testing hair. He said they would be able to possibly detect that if the person was taking them was a chronic user. The jury then submitted questions for the witness, which were then asked of Brower, including whether concentrations of toxins would change in a blood sample given time. He said for the drugs they were discussing in court, the answer would be no. The jury also asked if there were any drug interactions between cyanide, arsenic, and tetrahydrozoline. He responded by saying that generally all of them could be lethal on their own. He was then excused from the stand. Okay, now hold on, I gotta get a sip of water. Let me kind of sit for a second. I can get you all while I do that. Yeah, y'all, I'm curious to see if he'll testify too. Now, also remember the opening statements, he outlined that he wrote some kind of a love song or something like that and sent it to 3 different women. If he testifies, I pray that he plays the song. I would love to hear a rendition of it because it's pure, like, make you crawl under the table cringe, right? Literally. Okay, here we go. Arapahoe County coroner says Angela's death was a homicide, not a suicide. The last witness of the day was Kelly Lear, who was the elected coroner and forensic pathologist for the county coroner's office. In her job, she evaluates deceased people to determine why that person has died. She told the court she's been with the office since 2004 and became the elected coroner in 2014. She has performed more than 6,000 autopsies in her career. She also testified in court around 177 times and has worked in Colorado for more than 2 decades. She was qualified as an expert witness in forensic pathology. Prosecutor Ryan Brackley questioned Lear as to the information she had available to her prior to the autopsy. Lear responded she had a fair number of medical records, including from Angela's terminal hospital stay, hospital visits before her death, hospital records dating back to 2014, and information from law enforcement regarding their investigation at the time. She added that she knew about the allegations that Angela had been poisoned with cyanide. In her testimony, Lear said Angela's organs showed a lack of oxygen, which were the result of cyanide and tetrahydrozoline toxicity. The overdose of those two drugs caused a lack of oxygen to all the organs in her body, she said. She testified that she believed Angela Craig may have been re-exposed to cyanide during her hospital stay due to her abrupt change in her clinical status at that time frame. Ultimately, she said, Angela's cause of death was acute cyanide and tetrahydrozoline toxicity or poisoning. She ruled Angela's manner of death as a homicide. When questioned as to why she did not rule her death a suicide, she said her death could not have been a suicide after looking at her past medical history and hospital visits, and from looking at the evidence from text messages as well as her past actions prior to her death. An example, going to the hospital to find out what was wrong with her. My job as the forensic pathologist is to speak for the decedent, Lear told the jury. I have to look at her actions and her records and her words, where I can find them to make a determination as to manner of death. And that was it for the day. Okay, now, please hold. I said please hold. I said please hold. I said please hold. Okay, now, coming back to y'all, they are. Okay, so, y'all, I don't really know what to say about all that. Okay, now we're going to read the next case, but it's going to be from a different paper that I feel like is not as, like, thorough or whatever, but nonetheless, we're going to get caught up, which is technically today's testimony, or a portion of it, right? Because the timing's off. Okay. So, 7 hours ago, witness takes the stand, Jacob Factor. After Dr. Mark Simon finished his testimony, the medical examiner, Kathy Lear, took the stand. Pulmonary critical care Dr. Natalia Head is now on the stand. Okay, I don't know what that means. So, Vicente Arenas, toxicology expert Dr. Mark Simon, said this morning he suspected cyanide poisoning was the cause of Angela's deteriorating condition while she was being treated in the hospital in March of 2023. Simon said people have been talking about this patent could have been. Wait, hold on. People have been talking about this patent could have had been around cyanide. People were mentioning cyanide. He was not sure an antidote would have saved her by the time this became a possibility. He mentioned her condition deteriorated very quickly in the hospital. I'm writing this update during a courtroom break outside the courtroom. Okay, that's why it's weird. Medical examiner resumes. Kelly Lear took the stand again this morning. She testified late yesterday. She was crossed by the defense team whose first questions on how blood samples are kept and how much Visine it would take to kill a person. Doctor talks about how Angela Craig was declared brain dead. The Dr. Natalia Held said she declared Angela brain dead. One of the main factors was the amount of pressure that had built up in her skull due to the swelling of the brain. I'm not sure who the next witness will be. Court is expected to resume in a few minutes. 5 hours ago, orthodontist who James Craig was seeking a relationship with takes the stand. Oh my goodness gracious. Texas orthodontist Dr. Karen Kane took the stand during the trial today. She testified until noon when the jury broke for lunch. Kane said the two had exchanged more than 4,000 text messages after meeting at a dental conference in Las Vegas in March. Kane said she met James Craig while waiting for a bus to take the conference attendees to a dinner. The two said she said made out in her hotel room. Kane told the jury Craig led her to believe he was in the process of getting a divorce from his wife Angela, and that he was separated from her and living in an apartment. She told the court Craig was saying all the right things that got her emotional since she had been single for a year. Okay. Craig does not look at key witness as he entered the courtroom. James Craig kept his head down as the woman he was allegedly trying to date entered the courtroom. Orthodontist Karen Kane looked directly at him for several moments when identifying him. He did not look at her. He kept his head down. and court has been said Craig had many extramarital affairs, but Kane is the last one. Before Angela, Craig was allegedly poisoned by him. She will continue testifying later this afternoon. Key witness returns to stand. Court has resumed. The orthodontist is back in the stand. Orthodontist Kieran Kane was questioned by the prosecution, describing her relationship with the defendant. The judge paused to remind the jury that they can only consider this testimony for motive purposes. At least one piece of evidence was not shown to the jury after the judge questioned its relevance. Okay, we got an hour ago, 3 hours ago. An hour ago. The prosecution finished reading through text messages between orthodontist Kieran Kane and Dr. Craig and went on to talk about her trip to Denver. She had initially planned to visit around March 8th through 10th, but with Angela in the hospital, they rescheduled for March 16th through the 20th. She came to Denver and visited with Craig a few times during the trip before he was arrested. Detectives knocked on her hotel door on March 19th around 2 a.m. to tell her that Craig had been arrested. Kane then provided what she knew to detectives. Can you imagine? Okay. Orthodontist reveals contents of letters from defendant, inmate called to stand. The prosecutors presented letters written by Craig to Kane while he was in jail in late April. Kane said she did not read and burn the first two letters before she learned that she should not do that. The other letters talked about his love for her, and at one point Craig apologized and said he lied about having a separate apartment. Kane said she did not respond to any specific letters, but sent a letter expressing that she did not want to communicate with him anymore. Cross-examination began, and the defense talked to Kane about how they met at a convention, and that led to a relationship where they talked. Kane clarified that she does not remember giving Craig her address, but cannot swear that she didn't give it to him. Kane was released from the stand, and the prosecution has now called a new witness to the stand, Casey Bohannon, who lives in Colorado and interacted with Craig during his time in the county jail. Court recesses. Bohannon stepped down from the stand after cross-exam, and the court is now in session. Okay, so we'll probably get a front. Well, obviously, Lauren's, from being there, thing is going to be really, like, wow. But y'all, I mean, the mistress gets up there. So he was just telling anybody whatever they wanted to hear, right? He was just telling anybody what they wanted to hear. So her, are you sure come down visit? Wife killing the wife. That's why I wanted to kill her so fast. Hold on, let me get a sip of this. The other night I was peeing in my pants laughing. We calculated it was like every 7.56 minutes he was texting her. But the sad thing is she's probably super excited, right? She was probably like, "Oh my God, I met this man. He's got a little bit of baggage situation. He's divorcing. But he's got his apartment. And then you go there, and the cops knock on your door at 2 a.m. talking about he killed his wife, and now you're here on the stand. Oh, she's like, I'm done. She's like, this is some plenty of fish behavior right here. She's like, this is some plenty of fish behavior right here. She's like, I could have stayed home and gotten plenty of fish for this drama. Okay. Hey, Emily, how's it going? I hope you're doing well. She's like, look, I could have paid the $9.99 a month. Okay. Just gotten this stuff at home now. Okay, I mean, for real. Come on now. Oh my goodness, y'all. I mean, how evil to go in her room, inject her, whatever you call that bag thing, with that high level of that. Hey, Barb. And then walk out. She's got a thing in her arm. She's got some pain in her arm. And while she's in there seizing and dying, and the whole time he's in there, taking pictures of her in that state. Sending them to her. No. And then immediately, she didn't want to fight for her life. She's in her 40s. Thank God the doctor called it out. Because I'm a big advocate, too, of being like, yeah, we all do things and handle things differently, right? You know what I mean? Like grieving and all these things. But there's a certain level where it's like, you know, I've never seen this in my doctor career. Like I'm thinking for him, right? I've never seen somebody jump at the bandwagon so quick of like, yep, pull the plug. You know, oh, okay, she's whatever. Yeah, pull the plug. She don't want to fight. You know, she got 6 kids. You know, doing all this stuff or whatever. You know, trying to figure out what's wrong with her, so on and so forth. I mean, no, he made her suffer and did not think twice about it. He was more concerned when his girlfriend was getting into town. And that's why I wanted to offer. And then, too, there's an added thing if he was probably like, I'm going to get it paid, right? I'm going to make some money. I need to get myself out of debt. I got this new woman. He was like, good. She had to go. She had to go. Hey. Yeah, Katie Cat says there's more compassion putting down a pet. Literally. Right? Literally. And two, when they're naming all the drugs that were in her system, I'm like, my word, you know she had to feel just awful all the time. Absolutely. I mean, just that slowly poisoning you. She had to feel just terrible. I can't imagine. So there's that. So again, we'll give it a couple of days to see. I mean, this is going pretty quick. Yeah, I can't imagine the jury's going to take long. It's so bad and obvious, right? I mean, it's so obvious. Literally did not try and hide this whatsoever. Yeah, Julia says he is a hardcore narcissist. Yeah. I mean, we're again, Anthony Todd 2.0 looks like him even. Looks like him even. So, y'all, what I'm going to do is get it ready to go so I can finish my stuff for the evening, so on and so forth. Then Thursday evening, we'll be going live to catch up on this case. And then tomorrow around, I think, 11 or noon Eastern Standard Time, I'll know here in a minute when I do it, we'll be streaming the Brian Koberger sentencing. And then, obviously, Friday, Lori Daybell. I mean, come on, right? That multiple things are going on Friday. Obviously, not Stephen Stearns. That's taken care of. So there is that. So thank you for hanging out. Thank you, mods, for hanging out and making the cushions fluffed and the sofa nice and saucy. And that's it. Y'all have a good evening. I will see y'all mid-afternoon tomorrow. And we will close out the evening with Slow Morrison's little Sofa Squad theme song. I love y'all. Y'all have a wonderful evening. I will see. Wait, hold on now. Hold on now. We got to set the song. Okay, there we go. All right. I will see y'all tomorrow.
The pillows are fluffed thanks to Miss Emily. The couch is wide enough. Join the family. It's all love while we laugh at first criminalities. Hey, 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 welcome to the Sofa Squad. Sipping from the cup at hey, 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 come laugh with the Sofa Squad. Can't roll my damn eyes hard enough. Oh, please, the puppies need me. Oh, oh, please, my body is rejecting none of that fancy credential stuff. I'm just here for the cringe binge. Hey, 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 welcome to the Sofa Squad. Sipping from the cup and hey, 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 come laugh with the Sofa Squad. Can't roll my damn eyes hard enough. Oh, please, the puppies need me. Oh, please, my body is rejecting none of that fancy credentialed stuff. I'm just here for the cringe binge. Hey, 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 welcome to the Sofa Squad. Sipping from the cup that hey, 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 come laugh with the Sofa Squad. Can't roll my damn eyes hard enough.